This is an action plan proposed for Citizens of the World Charter Schools Kindergarten Team by Kari, Liang. The action plan will address the skills from the kindergarten class of the 2012 to 13 and 13 to 14 school years, looking at their developmental reading assessment or DRA end-of-year scores. The analysis of the collected data will help create the proposed action plan that will drive the implementation of new instructional strategies to help increase student achievement levels in reading in the English language content area. The Common Core State Standards for English Language Arts state that students in kindergarten should be able to read emergent reader texts with purpose and understanding. CWC currently uses the Developmental Reading Assessment DRA2 to assess for reading engagement, fluency, and comprehension across all grade levels. Other than informal anecdotal notes, the DRA is CWC's only means of formally assessing reading fluency and comprehension. According to the DRA's technical manual, kindergartners should be reading independently at a DRA level 4 by the end of the year. This graph displays the DRA levels of all kindergarten classes collectively at CWC. The graph compares the results of DRA scores at the end of both the 2013 and 14 school years. In 2013, there were 42%, 48%, and 9% of students who scored below, at, and above the DRA reading benchmark, respectively. In 2014, 41% scored below, 42% scored at, and 17% scored above the reading benchmark on the DRA. The graph depicts similar trends between the 2 years, with a significant amount of kindergartners reading below the grade level benchmark. The data that we just looked at indicates the learner-centered problem, that students have trouble reading emergent texts with purpose and understanding. The problem of practice proposed for CWC's kindergarten grade level team is that as teachers, they are not explicitly supporting students with reading strategies to strengthen their reading comprehension. CWC should address the problem of practice by implementing instructional strategies that will address and strengthen student performance in reading comprehension. Adequate reading comprehension is the most important ultimate outcome of effective instruction in reading. Closed reading allows students to actively monitor and assess their thinking while reading a text. The process encourages students to read and reread more thoughtfully each time, giving more attention to unfamiliar words, text structure, with schools making the shift towards Common Core State Standards, among placing a higher emphasis on higher level thinking and straying away from text-dependent questions. Lehman and Roberts more critical that the more carefully and closely students pay attention related to closed reading is relevant to older grade levels. They also claim that teaching students to gather closed reading strategies to form ideas gives them the tools to interact more deeply with the text so that we can build habits that will lead students. Much research also states that primary teachers often overlook closed reading strategies since students tend to be emergent readers who are still developing sight, word fluency, and phonemic awareness. It is just important, however, to build knowledge through listening as well as through independent reading. In their book, Falling in Love with Closed Reading, Lehman and Roberts offer a central structure to closed reading. First, students should read through a lens or a specific purpose while gathering evidence. Next, they use these lenses to find patterns across all of the collected details. Details will not mean much until relationships among them are discovered. Finally, they should use these patterns to develop a new understanding of the text. At a kindergarten level, modeling this ritual of reading a text and then rereading it for a different specific purpose will allow them to engage in a process that will develop into habits for once they are ready to read more content-rich texts in the higher grade levels. So here we have an overview of the proposed action plan. In the book Data-Wise, the authors claim that engagement in this improvement process can empower teachers, which will then improve student achievement and the commitment to fulfill this role to the best of their abilities. So the first step in the action plan is for CWC to bring on a literacy consultant with expertise in closed reading strategies in the primary grade levels. This person should come to speak to the grade level team in the fall and address the elements, structure, and goals that construct an effective closed reading lesson applicable to the primary grade level. This consultant should also plan to teach a demo closed reading lesson to further emphasize consistency in instruction for the CWC kinder staff. Within the next couple of weeks, the kindergarten teachers should plan their own closed reading lesson that they will teach to their own students. Teachers should visit one another's classrooms as they observe their peers' incorporation of closed reading strategies. When teachers see their teammates working hard to implement these strategies, they are more motivated to do their best and to make changes in their own classrooms. Upon observation, teachers should be collecting evidence based solely on the actions of the teaching and learning that take place. After each visitation, teachers should debrief discussing evidence that was observed and reflect upon strengths and improvements that could be made. Once all teachers have taught and observed one another, the teachers should engage in a half-day PD with the same literacy consultant to discuss challenges or difficulties with the strategies. It's important to celebrate successful execution of the action plan and follow the success analysis protocol that allows teachers a chance to reflect on their own successes, giving them a sense of appreciation. Giving teachers a chance to think deeply about what makes for a successful practice can be a positive learning experience. And finally, as a grade level team, the teachers should sit down with the principal to map out the incorporation of closed reading lessons for the remainder of the year, just to hold everyone accountable. And although dramatic growth and increase may not be evident in such a short period of time, it is really important to help teachers see the bigger picture. In the end, it's important to remember that the improvement cycle continues back around, but each time at a higher level and with a more complex learner-centered problem.